I want to thank you for joining us today. My name is Tammy Frazier. I'm Fort Bend County Judge KP George's Communications Director. And we are here today to hold a press conference to announce the Community Economic Development Agreement with our area nonprofits. Our speakers for today are Fort Bend County Judge KP George, Brenda Baca, the Executive Director of Attack Poverty, Fort Bend County Precinct 4 Commissioner Dexter McCoy, Fulshire Mayor Aaron Groff, representing Abigail's Place, and Shannon Stavanoa, who's the Executive Director of Parks Youth Ranch. So without any further notice, here we go. Fort Bend County Judge KP George.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it. And also, we are also joined by some more community leaders, and we have our state representative on. Thank you for being back from Austin and not getting cut or punches on your face. You know, so you survived another session, I guess. Okay. And Jim Ashcraft.
Yes.
So one day I will make it.
So,
And the Fort Bend Promise president, and why these all people came together, because this is something special for us. This is something special for each and every one of them. And as you all know that I was a school board member for 5 years in Fort Bend ISD. One day I talked to a principal, one of our principals, and I asked him what are some kind of challenges he's facing, and he said, some days when he dismissed 2:30 high school, he said, maybe a child show up at my door and say that I have no place to go. And I never thought about that. We brag about, we all brag about how rich of a county we are, and we are the second richest county based on per capita income, and we have so many wonderful thing going on in Fort Bend County. But the thing about it is, and then we started this conversation end of last year, 2022, Youth Park Grants, right? Shannon and our office started this conversation, and she came up with some numbers which was mind-boggling for me. More than 1,600 children in different school districts in Fort Bend County are homeless. Out of that, 250 children are unaccompanied. And it was heartbreaking to hear that. And also Shannon shared with me one story last month before, she got a phone call. She get these kind of calls on a regular basis. And one of our student, not our student, but of course next door, Eli ISD student was on the bus and never got off the bus after school. And the driver asked her why you didn't get off, and she said, my mom said, don't come back. And driver took her back, and they were trying to place. And when she said that story, and I thought, we are a civilized community, we have to do something about it. And I'm very thankful to our Commissioner's Court. We brought this idea, it took some time, I guess that's how government works. It took some time, but we are here. We are very proud to announce that and announce that we have done something about it. And more importantly, that government don't want to get engaged with this conversation about managing such an big endeavor. And that's where we brought our nonprofits. You see a number of prominent nonprofits make Fort Bend County continue to be a better place. They came together. And they came together and started talking, and they came together and created a unified effort where county, and they came up with a big plan, and we need to do some seeding or seed money. We need to give them some seed money so that we can do something about it. And Fort Bend County, I just wanted to let you know that comparing Harris County or other counties, our problem is smaller, much smaller, and we could do something about it. And that's what we are going to be doing today. And so we actually, if you pay attention to Commissioner's Court, yesterday we passed $2.5 million going to be seed money presented to this nonprofits led by Attack Poverty and all these leaders here. And they will be acquiring some properties, and that money can go up to as high as $4.5 million. We are working on some other sources. And of course, that's where they should be able to go and leverage that to a much bigger number. You will hear from them moving forward, so that we are doing something and something about it. And also one thing about, not just about housing, we are looking to have a Fort Bend County Behavioral Services is going to have maybe offices in the facility, and we are going to be working with Texas Workforce Solution, so that while they are staying there, so they could learn a trade, so that they could go back to the community as productive citizens. That's the whole idea. Not just giving some housing, because that is not, we have to move them out of there to a permanent housing situation where they could support themselves. So this is long thought out, and thanks to our community, thanks to our community nonprofit leaders, and once again I wanted to thank our Fort Bend County Commissioners Court. They unanimously approved this effort yesterday. And thank you Commissioners Court, and thank you for leading this effort. And obviously, as I mentioned, Brandon Parker from Attack Poverty is going to lead that effort along with our other leaders. And I will ask Brandon to come and say a few words. Please, Brandon.
Thank you, Judge, and the entire commission board here in Fort Bend County. Each commissioner has worked diligently alongside the judge and in his office to make this happen, and we're very excited. As you know, my name is Brandon Baca. I'm the CEO of Attack Poverty, and it is our mission to make sure that the poor and marginalized are heard, empowered, and whole. We want to see people empowered to attack poverty in their life and community. And so it has been an honor to bring together and work together alongside of several nonprofits, lead agencies within our county who are equipped and well-positioned to work towards this effort to see individuals from a holistic standpoint, to see individuals in our community flourish through access to safe, secure, and accessible housing. And this is exciting. This is an exciting day for us to see this move forward, to have these seed funds in order to make this happen. So we're really grateful to the county, but we're also very grateful to the nonprofits and the collaborative that we get to work alongside and lead that effort in order to see this happen long-standing. So this is not just a project that we were putting together for tomorrow. This is a project that we're putting together that will sustain the impact. And we're going to see individuals, students in our community, families in our community flourish as a result of this process. And when we say flourish, we mean be a part of the process of giving back and seeing our community thrive. So we're very excited about this process, and we look forward to seeing this come to fruition in the next coming months, and you'll see a lot of activity start to happen, and we're very excited to see all of this take place in and around our communities. And we often say this, but we want to make it clear, we're better together. It takes more than just our county leaders to make this happen. It takes us all of these agencies, churches, organizations, civic groups, all of us across the county to make these efforts happen. As the gap widens, you just heard statistics of individual students who are unaccompanied, not have no place to go. It takes us all to care for and carry the burden and the load so that everyone in our community has an opportunity to thrive. And that's what we're here to do. We're very excited about it. So thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, fellow cohort here to make this happen. We've been doing a lot of work. It's been a journey, and it will continue to be, and we're committed to walk alongside one another to make this happen. So thank you very much for your support. Thanks for being here today. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And I don't know, we sometimes always think about our nonprofits because I tell you, March 4th of 2020, we had our first COVID case, and March 12th, I signed a stay-at-home order, and so everybody stayed home. And a lot of people said, how do I feed my family? And county doesn't have a line item saying that just in case something like COVID comes, here's the money to do something about it. We don't have a line item. These people, our nonprofit stepped up. And I worked with them very closely. And you know, the CARES Act and ARPA and all came later. You know, maybe a month later, 2 months later. And they stepped up every single day. And I went to so many food distribution and so on and so forth with Brandon and all these people. And thank you. And we are so blessed to have a number of nonprofits in Fort Bend County. And they came together. And this is an ongoing problem, and they came together. And so thank you. And I don't know, I mentioned about Carlos Guzman. Did I mention before? I'm so sorry. And sometime I guess I run out of my hard drive, I don't remember a lot of people. I'm sorry about that. Carlos is our economic development director, and this is part of our economic development. So, and his participation in this effort is important. And as I mentioned, without our commissioner's vote, nothing would have happened. And I always say that I only have one vote. And we have 5 people, and our commissioners' court came together. It was a 5-0 vote, unanimously. And one of our commissioners is representing commissioners' court here today, our new commissioner, Dexter McCall.
Thank you. I am ecstatic to be here today. This is a great day in Fort Bend. As we talk about so much of the need in our community, we are able to do our best work when we come together to get it done. We are here today to announce a new affordable and transitional housing collaborative that will connect resources to the folks who need them the most. We're here because there were nonprofits that came together and the philanthropic community that came together. They saw a need, and they came to our county judge and our commissioners and said, hey, we could use your help making this happen. This is a great example of what can happen when we roll up our sleeves, get out of our silos, and start working together. Richmond and Rosenberg, right here in Precinct 4, have the highest poverty rate of anywhere in Fort Bend County. The poverty rate in Richmond is 22%, and Rosenberg trails behind at about 21%. That's important because this program, this initiative, is going to be located right here in the heart of where the need is in our community. And why is this so necessary? Well, here in America, there's this prevalent belief that you should be able to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and that if you do that and you work hard, and you should be able to succeed. And yet, I've learned that it's entirely possible to work your butt off and still find yourself behind. How do you pull yourself up by bootstraps if you don't even have boots? If you're barefoot, if you just have sneakers, how are you able to pull yourself up if you don't have a roof over your head? Well, this network of support will help those people who find themselves outside of the resources that they need. They will help them get connected to those resources. These resources will address the root causes of poverty in our community. And when we address that not only helps those individuals, but it helps our entire economy thrive. That's what's the point of this program. I'm so thankful for the judge's leadership in this initiative and making sure that this was something that goes beyond, a lot is said about our role as commissioners are to build roads and bridges and to keep flood waters out of people's homes. But what about those people who don't have a home? And I'm so thankful that the judge has brought that as a topic of conversation right here in our commissioner's court and leading us in a different direction to make sure we're meeting our residents' basic needs. With this collaboration, a better life is going to be possible for many, countless individuals here in our community. So our county's made an initial investment. We're excited for our philanthropic community to pitch in for not only about purchasing property, but also helping to make sure we have appropriate and adequate programming. And we know that from here, success will grow, and this will be a model that can be replicated not only across our county, not only across our region, but of course our state and our nation. So I'm so excited to be part of supporting this great transformative initiative.
Thank you, Commissioner, and at times it was frustrating. We got calls from Shannon and Mayor Grove and people like that. What is going on? Is this going to happen? What happened? We talked to something the other day. What happened now? We agreed on everything. What happened now? But thank you for not giving up, and thank you for not giving up. And I come from a corporate background, and many of us do the same. But sometimes people learn government work differently, and but thank you for not giving up. And one of the person who led that conversation was Mayor Grove. And I will ask him to please come forward. And once again, thank you for giving up, and thank you for getting not frustrated and all that stuff.
I'm in the business, right? I understand how it works. So, no, today has been a long time coming, and I'm thankful for the commissioners, for the judge, for all the efforts that they put in. Judge, you may remember that the first time I came and asked for money, it was CARES dollars. So it's been a minute that we've been talking about this project. In fact, so 2019, I stepped into a role with Abigail's Place that we began to have conversations with a number of foundations, agencies, nonprofits. So this is a beginning point for many of us of a work that has been ongoing for not just since 2022, but back in the teens, as we saw the demographics of our county continuing to change, the influx of population, yes, the wealth. I live in the midst of that in Fulshear, but also see the immense need of so many. And so this collaborative has come together, and I could not be more proud, because together we're standing up saying that we want to take a holistic approach to flourishment by providing safe, secure, and accessible housing services to Fort Bend County and its residents. This day has been a long time coming, but it's just the beginning of new programs. It's the beginning of a huge collaborative effort to meet needs, and it's going to take all of us continuing to partner together to fill these voids. And again, this is phase one. Just so you know, this is phase one of a big project. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, yes, I'm still involved at Abigail's Place a little bit, but the truth is I'm the Vice President of Attack Poverty, and will be point of contact for a lot of this project, especially as it happens in Rosenberg. And we are excited about tomorrow. We've said it 1,000 times, we are much better together. And so when the county comes together with the nonprofits and the foundations and all of the private entities that will ultimately be involved in this project, it's going to be a beautiful outcome, and we are extremely excited to get moving on the next steps, the acquisition of the property, renovations, MOUs with all of the partnering agencies, and the work that will happen right here in the center of Fort Bend County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And a person who get this hard phone calls, and we had this conversation, and I remember we are sitting down having this conversation. I even wrote down the date, actually, December 16, 2022. Had this conversation about what we can do. Of course, Mayor, we talked about it in 2020. And so this conversation started, and this hard phone calls, and it is hard. And so thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for continuing to lead this effort. Shannon Stavanova from Youth Park Ranch, the Director of Youth Park Ranch. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Shannon Stavanova. I am the Executive Director of Parks Youth Ranch. More importantly, I am a resident of Fort Bend County, And even more importantly, I am a daughter of educators in Fort Bend County. And what I learned from my parents is that our kids need help. They might need help learning math, as my mom taught algebra and geometry. They might need help on the field, as my dad was a coach. They also might need help with a place to live. Their family might be suffering from food insecurities. They might not be able to make their utility payments. They might not have a place to stay. And so they might be living doubled and tripled up. In Fort Bend County, our homeless doesn't look like what you think it looks like. They're not on the street panhandling, even though we're starting to see that. Our homeless families are families that are unstably housed. They're just one paycheck away, or one missed paycheck away, or one car repair away from having to make the decision on paying rent or paying for their car to be repaired, right? And so how do we meet that need? How do we address those challenges? How do we find places in Fort Bend County for our workforce that they can actually afford, especially for our staff that are making less than $17 an hour, which the latest cost of living adjustment was? How do we meet that need? How do we meet that demand so that we can keep our families together in Fort Bend County? And how do we help them to be able to be sustainable themselves? How can they meet that? That's what the service center is for, is to address all of those needs. I talk about the kids a lot because that's who I love. I love my kids. I love my teenagers. I love my kiddo who aged out of the foster care system. And when she turned 18, there was nowhere in Fort Bend County for her to go. So she ended up in a homeless shelter in Harris County. That's where she had. Luckily, through our partnerships with the school, she was able to be transported back to finish high school here in Fort Bend County, but there was nowhere here for her to live. How can we let that happen? And that's what we need to address. We need to address the grandma who's using hotel and motel vouchers from Fort Bend County to take care of her grandchildren, but she can't afford to work and take care of those kids. So we have to provide her housing in a hotel and motel. We need to fix it. We need to give her resources. How do we address our veterans who are experiencing homelessness? There are so many populations and people that need our help. And the service center is that first step to address all of those things from a holistic standpoint, to really help these families and individuals, these kids and adults flourish here in Fort Bend County. And I am so grateful to the partnerships that I have been blessed to join and be part of this collaborative and build this and take this first step. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. And also along with that, we discussed about, that foster care system. It is understanding what happened to these children. I've been told 97% of the children never go to college. 3% go to college. And especially when it comes to girls, by the time they are 20, 21, they become pregnant and become part of a vicious cycle. And they are our children. They are our children. And we have a juvenile detention facility in Fort Bend County. Each time I go there, I come out heartbroken. And these people are taking that step so that maybe we could give some kind of hope to these children. And that's what this is all about. And also, our behavioral health director has joined us. Thank you, Dr. Almeida, for joining us in this special moment. And I will ask our state representative, Ron Donald, to say a few words because we will be coming to you too. Because that's where the money is, I guess. And these guys are going to come and talk to you, and I want you to, and I know you will, and go to Austin and advocate so that we could have more resources because our children are not going to be forgotten. I will invite you to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Judge George, and I'll be brief because I ditto and second all of the remarks that have been made by all of the presenters so far. And I know for a fact that there's so much poverty and home insecurity, and oftentimes you take for granted that Fort Bend, everyone is middle class or wealthy or well-to-do or well-off, and that unfortunately is not the reality. And a lot of people suffer in silence, and they don't have the resources and the wherewithal to get assistance. And this is such a vital program. I want to commend Judge George, Commissioner McCoy, all the commissioners for doing the right thing, for prioritizing where the resources should go. And then our nonprofit agencies are phenomenal. Fort Bend County really is special. I challenge you to find any other county that has the collaborative effort, regardless of party affiliation, race, socioeconomic status. Fort Bend County prioritizes people. They put people before politics. And that is what makes it so special. So there's no big I's and little U's. There's about how can we make life better. There is a shortage of affordable housing. The mayor and I talked about that. I fought very hard with Representative Jeton, again, in a bipartisan effort to make sure that we had a legislative climate to foster PSAs and to have more vehicles to do affordable housing projects right here in Fort Bend County. And I want to thank the mayor for coming down and visiting with me, and Judge George and the commissioners for having a commitment to affordable housing. That is a critical need. And Ms. Stavino, you're right. I mean, workforce housing, there are so many people that because of inflation and other cost of living, that can't afford basic housing. And then we often forget about the students and the impact it can have on them if they go into foster care systems. And Judge George is right, those statistics are alarming. So this is a great partnership. I'm really excited about it, and I appreciate the seed money, and I'm looking forward to partnering with you so that $2.4 million continues to grow, and I think you said up to $4 million, and then beyond that, because this is phase one. So thank you, congratulations, and I appreciate all the hard work, all the perseverance, all the due diligence to make this happen. Thank you.
We will conclude here, and I just wanted to say, I will look right at you and say that if you are a child in Fort Bend County, if you are a person who doesn't know how, where to go as far as housing is concerned, you are in our mind, in my mind, and we will take this seriously and moving forward because Fort Bend County do have an affordable housing shortage. And we are recognizing that this is one of the way we are doing it, and we are going to be talking to HUD and other agencies, maybe bringing more resources so that we could have maybe more affordable housing for these people, maybe when they come out of the system, so that they could be homeowners and so on and so forth. So once again, as from day one I said this, my goal is to make everybody feel they belong to Fort Bend County, whether you are coming from any background, whether you are economically disadvantaged, doesn't matter. You are our children, you are our citizens. Continue to take seriously, and your well-being is the most important thing for us. Once again, thank you for joining us, each and every one of you. This will conclude the presentation. If you have any specific question, you're welcome to, we will answer it at this point. I guess we explained everything right. No questions. Thank you guys, thank you for coming, everybody, and I appreciate it, and this is important, and thank you everybody coming out.